What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another video. I've done these before, but they're always so fascinating to me when my work life intersects with my personal life. And for many, many, many years, I worked in software. So I have seen a lot of major software systems over the years be developed, built up, tested, deployed, sundown, licensing agreements, product agreements, documentation, manuals, all these wonderful things that if you deal with software in a professional manner should come as no surprise. However, the one thing that continues to boggle my mind is why Microsoft elected to build a proprietary, ground up, custom software solution for Halo Infinite. Now, whether or not Halo Infinite turned out to be the game we wanted it to be, spoilers, it wasn't, at least you can look at it from a software development perspective and say, that was good practice or that was bad practice. In this case, it's very clear to me that Microsoft absolutely screwed the pooch when it comes to this, which is shocking considering Microsoft is at its heart a software-based company. When you think of developing something and you think of taking something to the next level, whether it be hardware or software, the key is to make it as simple as possible, because more often than not, the people that are going to be working on it are not the same people that originally developed it. That is why manuals and documentation and ease of use is so important. And it's one of the reasons why a company like IKEA, for example, does so well. The instructions are very simple to understand. The guy who originally designed the furniture that you are now assembling in your living room is not there. So they have to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to open the manual and to figure out what the hell is going on. This is the exact same way software is developed, albeit slightly different levels of complexity, but the core idea remains. Keep it simple and document always. So when I read this article from Jason Schreier on Bloomberg, which I will post a link to in the description box below, you can see that he is talking all about Microsoft Studio turmoil. And this is something that we have talked about numerous times, you and I, on this channel, about how bad Halo has become and what is going to be done to fix Halo. I, like many others, had hoped that 343 would have learned their lesson over the numerous years that they have had 343, that have had Halo under the reins. They haven't been able to execute. When Bonnie Ross was seemingly kicked out of the company, I thought once again, maybe there are greener pastures. I thought when Phil Spencer had kind of assumed a role and kind of gotten the Game Pass curve laying flat and was now done with hardware and focusing on software and first-party studios and core exclusive experiences, I had also thought then that, hey, things were going to get better. They did not. And now that Microsoft has seemingly lost all of their 343 talent, the question is, can they get better? And I guess we'll wait and see, but I think you and I both know the answer. So if you haven't been reading the news or you haven't been watching my channel, shame on you. 343 has done a massive layover. Lots and lots and lots of core talent has left, not just in the software development realm, but in some of the production stuff like art and creative and design. As a matter of fact, Jason goes on to state that at least 95 people at the company have lost their jobs. And there is apparently some spreadsheet floating around out there. I haven't seen it, nor do I want to see it. I will say as an aside, as somebody who's been laid off not once, but twice, the second time for 16 months to the day, my heart goes out for you guys because that sucks. It really sucks. But you see a lot of the veterans here, including a lot of contractors. And that is a major problem with software development. When you cannot keep your talent, and again, as I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of software development is not done by the people who originally made it. But if you can't keep your talent because you farmed the labor out as a contractor role, you absolutely are going to lose that talent. which is why documentation is of the utmost importance, because at least somebody could read the notes and the ideas and hopefully start to pick up the pieces. But when you have so many people scattered so far under so many contract types, you begin to lose reign of document standards and coding practices and best engineering practices. And this is what you see happen. The thing falls apart. Interestingly enough, according to Phil, which I doubt, I'm shocked that Phil Spencer has not yet seen the writing on the wall. And as I have said in other videos, I don't think Phil Spencer is the guy for the job, by the way. According to Big Daddy Phil, 343 is going to remain firmly in charge of developing future Halo titles. You and what army, I have no idea. But specific to the idea behind 343, Jason Schreier goes on to talk about that Halo Infinite was pivoting to a new game engine. And they called this game engine the SlipSpace engine, which was going to be a major shift in how games were developed. As a brief aside, many games are developed using existing 3D models and tool sets. It gives them a plug-and-play feel at times. You may see a similar looking light or similar looking asset as it carries from game to game, but they work. And if you can create a meaningful experience, most people will overlook the fact that it might not be the shiniest, brightest, newest, fanciest thing of all time. Look at a game like Celeste, for example. Celeste has taken the world by storm, and it's just pixel art, which is a dime a dozen, but it had heart, and that is a big difference. I go on. So SlipSpace obviously was a big point of contention. It was based on old spaghetti code from the 1990s and 2000s, and it was a source of headache and a source of contention. So think of how much society has changed. Don't even think about coding. Think of how your life has changed, how you use a cellular telephone. Think of how it's changed in the last 20 years. Think of how in the last 20 years, your commute has changed. How do you get entertainment? How do you get news? Think of your personal computer. Think of what you had then versus what you have now. Now, think about the coding standards and all that amazing new technology I just told you about, in which, that's my phone, not yours. Think of all of those amazing coding standards and technologies and how much things have changed. Do you think that code that was built in the 1990s is going to be efficient and meaningful and useful and fun and exciting to code on in 2022? I will pause for a moment while you ponder that answer. While you ponder that answer, why don't you scroll on down and subscribe to the channel, because I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to guess you've already come up with your answer. So 343 obviously had a big turmoil, and they have now debated dropping their SlipSpace engine, the engine that cost them megabucks to build from the ground up, that was largely contracted out, that did not have good documentation or good coding standards. It's clearly not optimized. Look no further than the multiple Digital Foundry videos talking about frame rate performance, loading times, draw distance, rendering, Craig. So apparently they have decided that they're probably going to pivot to Unreal, which is the biggest shock in the galaxy for absolutely nobody, largely because Unreal Engine is incredibly popular, incredibly scalable, incredibly easily to utilize. And it doesn't require all of the weird custom tool sets and rules and nonsensical standards that the SlipSpace engine was supposed to bring to the table. So, first thing, they're going to drop everything and go to Unreal. Think of all the wasted effort, the time, the management, the labor, all the money that Microsoft spent to build up a SlipSpace engine to get it to run on consoles is now seemingly going to be thrown in the garbage. This is the right choice, by the way, but it just goes to show how poor Microsoft / 343 / Microsoft's umbrella of technical advisors. Think of how nonsensically unprepared they are to handle these kind of challenges when they think that their flagship game should utilize a custom homebrew slapped together spaghetti code from the 1990s called SlipSpace engine? Nonsense. Anyways, they have finally decided that they're going to move over to Unreal Engine, and they're going to be working with certain affinity, and the game is going to evolve from there. Whatever the next Halo game is going to be, a battle royale, a multiplayer only, who knows? By this point, nobody's going to be left to play it. I don't play Halo anymore. I suspect a lot of people have moved on. If you look at the Steam numbers, you can confirm that for yourself. So, as it says here, that developers were making prototypes for the Unreal Engine and pitching ideas for new games rather than working on new missions for Halo Infinite. Yet another major pivot. This is the entire problem with what is going on. All of that work is now lost. All of those lessons learned in level design, in tool sets that tried to make a fun game are lost. This is hysterically bad. So, Microsoft had once promised that Halo Infinite would be the start of the next 10 years of Halo, but recent moves are now providing a shorter-term vision. In an email following the multiple layoffs, Pete Heinz, who is now the new studio head, the new Bonnie Ross, he was the guy, by the way, who worked on Master Chief Collection, said that the current plan for 343 is to instead support a robust live offering and greenlighting the new tech stack while bringing Halo to more platforms than ever before. Not even exactly sure what more platforms than ever before even means. They are on 2 platforms as far as I know, the Xbox platform and the Windows-based PC platform. What other platforms exist, I guess will remain to be seen. But let this be a lesson to each and every one of you who works in or around software. Don't be idiots like Microsoft. Don't invest in some crazy technology that makes no logical sense. And if you decide to, and you want to be the next creator of a new graphic engine, like the way that Valve did it numerous times throughout their years of developing games, at least make it meaningful to utilize in the future, and at least make it scalable in the future. As an engineer, this just screams complete incompetence to me. If I was a program manager on this effort and not the other efforts that I currently run now, I would be losing my mind, asking very simple technical questions. The who, what, where, when, and why of this whole process absolutely stinks. It is beyond frustrating and aggravating, and it sucks that it happened to a franchise that was near and dear to many of our hearts that unfortunately became a case study in poor development, poor design, poor sales, and an all measurable variance of any metric, a complete failure. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on what's going on over there. Do you agree with me? Is it time for Phil Spencer to go? I think yes. Sound off below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.